It's time to talk about social media integration, and we will start with Twitter. Please go ahead and find Trip to French Alps, which is the account for our French Alps website that has existed over the years. It has followers who are students. And once you follow this page, please go ahead and tweet something that has to do with skiing and so forth. And I'll show you now how to grab the code and place it onto your contact.html page. So I'm going to hover over this little image here, and it's basically the profile and settings, and I'm going to click on that in order to find lists from the drop-down menu. I'm going to click on lists, and that will take me to my lists page. I have several lists, and I'm basically going to create a new list. So on the right side, there's this Create New List button. I'm going to create a new list and call it French Alps EU. And I will save this list. Once the list has been created, you can find it here. And what we want to do now is add members to the list. And one way of adding members to a list is adding members from an existing list. So for example, I can choose one of my existing lists here, such as this one, Alps list, and choose people from this list. So here I can click on list members, and I can choose whoever I want to add into my new list. Let's say Brooke Martens. So I click on this little icon on the right side and click on add or remove from lists, and I add Brooke Martens to French Alps EU that I just created a couple of minutes ago. Let's say I choose Sam Daly too. I click on this icon, add or remove from lists, same thing. Let's say, who else shall we add? Page. Add or remove from lists. Jonathan. These nice people are previous students of this class. Let's see, one more person. Victoria. Okay. So now these 4 or 5 peoples that we added are members of the French Alps EU. And if I click on French Alps EU, it says I have 5 members. And once you follow the trip to the French Alps, I will add you as members to this existing list that we created together. Now, what we want to do next is grab the code in order to place it on the contact.html and keep seeing the feeds that keep coming from everyone who tweets. So next I want to go ahead and again go to Profile and Settings, click on that and choose Settings. And under Settings I want to find Widgets on the bottom left right here. Click on Widgets and then click on Create New Widget. Okay. So we are creating a new widget. We want to choose list in order to choose whichever list we want from our list of lists. I happen to have many, but maybe you don't have as much or you have more, but it doesn't matter. I'm choosing French Alps EU and I'll click on that, and that's the list that I want. And that's all. I hit Create Widget. And Twitter gives me the code right here. Okay, it's highlighted in blue, and I'm going to go ahead and copy it. So Command C. I hold down the Command button and click C to copy it. Next, what I want to do is go to my French Alps website and find the contact.html page and open it. Okay, and now I want to see where I want that Twitter feed to appear. So let's open contact.html in the browser. This is what we have so far. We created the form on the left side and we want the Twitter feed on the right side. So let's place it within div ID content, hit enter. Let's hit enter twice just to have things clear. And then indent, open a new div and close it. And give it an ID Twitter. And what you want to do is just paste whatever you grabbed from the Twitter page right here. Okay, so I just pasted it here, and if you want, you can clean the code so that things look nice. So you can indent just this way. Okay, so what we did is, inside of div ID content, we created a div whose ID is Twitter, and we pasted the code that we copied from the Twitter website onto here. And we're doing this right before we start with the form element. Now let's see what happens. Save this and refresh the page. You are basically going to see the feed at the top and then the form at the bottom. So what shall we do so that we have the Twitter feed on the right side of the page and the form at the top where it originally was? We're going to float the Twitter feed. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to style.css. And where is this? It's under the contact section. So let's go to the contact section right here. And it's the first element inside of div ID content. So let's make sure we place it in the right location. Form comes next. So let's start with styling the Twitter now. Div pound Twitter, open close curly braces, and then let's say float right. Now, actually, before I refresh the page, you notice that this is too wide, okay? Let's make it around 320 pixels wide. So width, 320 pixels, semicolon. Let's save and refresh. So refresh the page, and there you go. So you have the form on the left and the Twitter feed on the right side. And what we also can do is add some margin around it because the feed is stuck on the top left corner, the top right corner. So margin, something like 20 pixels or so. And this is much nicer because there's space around it from the top and from the right. And now when you go ahead and follow this, you will start seeing your own feeds when you start tweeting. You will start seeing your own feeds on this very page.